Hello, and welcome to a bonus episode by Casual Cinecast, powered by Cinelinx. My name is Chris.
And my name is Justin.
And my name is Mike. Today's episode, we're just going over our 5 most anticipated movies of the summer. Chris and I filled out our picks for our most anticipated movies on an article at cinelinx.com, but Justin didn't get to participate, and we thought it would be fun to just go ahead and turn it into a bonus episode and a conversation.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So who wants to kick us off and go first?
Well, Justin, since you didn't get to participate in the article at Cinelinx, why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Okay, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm going in no particular order. I didn't rank them because it's weird to rank anticipation.
Yeah, it's hard to rank movies you haven't seen based on how much you kind of want to see them. It's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. So in no particular order, I'll start us off with one that is kind of silly, but it speaks to a nostalgic place for me. But I'm actually really looking forward to seeing the film Action Point. Are you guys familiar with this one?
No.
So it stars Johnny Knoxville and Chris Pontius of Jackass fame. And it's a comedy, and it's about Johnny Knoxville starting up this theme park and trying to make it make money, but all these sort of things go wrong with it. And basically the appeal of the movie, or the hook of the movie, is that all of the stunts are real. So like everything, when people get like hit by stuff, it's actually like Johnny Knoxville doing his like usual Jackass thing of getting hit and hurt by something. Wait,
so is this like Bad Grandpa? Like it's like a narrative loosely strewn together over stunts?
No, it's more narrative. Like, so it's not like he's under makeup or whatever. It's actually like a narrative with all actors. It's just that these stunts performed are in the Jackass vein, where you know like things are really happening to him.
The stunts that they do, so they have a bunch of rides, like festival rides that are basically broken, and so then Johnny Knoxville will ride these broken rides and get hurt as he for real as he does it.
Yeah,
so.
And other things.
Yeah,
and it's completely lowbrow. Like I saw the trailer, and it looks kind of bad, and I totally get that. But I have this like soft spot where I would watch Jackass 4 through 25 if they came out with them over the years, because I just really enjoy them. So I know that I'll go to see this movie. It's directed by Tim Kirkby, if you care. I don't know who he is or what else he's really done. It comes out June 1st. I think it'll just be a good time reminiscent of Jackass. And it also, like, I don't think we'll ever get any more Jackass movies since the one guy died in the car wreck. And
Ryan Dunn.
You know, Bam Margera is kind of like not in a good place if you've ever looked up where he's at in life now. So ever since that happened, it's kind of depressing, really. But I think that puts an end to any Jackass, at least as we know it. So I look forward to this movie. I think it'll be fun for me, at least.
Yeah, I don't feel that way about this movie.
Yeah, but I don't expect anyone to. I bet it'll make very little money.
I saw the trailer for this and was not super excited about it.
I have not seen a trailer for this, and I don't know if I should. I honestly don't even understand what the hell this movie is still, based on you describing it to me. Yeah, but that's okay.
I mean, it's scripted, it's narrative. Like, Johnny Knoxville isn't going to be Johnny Knoxville. He's going to have some other name. There's no like real people being caught on candid camera or anything like that. Like it's literally just, instead of stuntmen, they're using Johnny Knoxville. And so you can watch Johnny Knoxville and other various actors like Chris Pontius get hurt.
All right. Well, when he gets here.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go ahead and go. Also, in no particular order, one of my most anticipated movies is Sorry to Bother You, starring Lakeith Stanfield.
Nice.
So far, I've really enjoyed. We've talked about Lakeith Stanfield on the show before, but I've really enjoyed everything I've seen him do. I think we even maybe talked about the trailer a little bit, but I think the idea of this movie is really great. The idea basically is that Lakeith Stanfield plays a telemarketer, and Danny Glover gives him advice to use his white voice. And so when he uses his white voice, Patton Oswalt does the voiceover basically for it, and he goes on all sorts of crazy adventures after that. And so I really like the idea of the movie. It also has Tessa Thompson in it that I really like.
Man, she is everywhere now.
Yeah,
you can't escape Tessa Thompson.
Yeah, but I really like it. It's directed by Boots Riley, who did a lot of soundtrack stuff before this, and it comes out July 6th, so not too much longer.
That's awesome. I think Lakeith Stanfield is so good, and I'm excited to see this movie.
Have you seen a trailer for it yet?
I haven't seen anything but the poster.
Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe don't see a trailer. I oftentimes like.
I won't if I can help it.
Yeah, this is all I need. I'm sold on the premise. So.
Yeah. You just had to tell me Lakeith Stanfield, and I'm there.
Awesome. What's yours, Mike?
The first one I'm going to go over is Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I've seen all the Mission Impossible movies in theaters up to this point. So it feels wrong not to see this one in theaters too. Like literally since the first one when I was a little kid, I've gone to every single one of these things. I'm excited for it. You know, there's the infamous scene that's out there where Tom Cruise broke his foot. Apparently there's a really great stunt through like an airplane or a helicopter or something in this one that's supposedly like really crazy, and it took them like 2 months to shoot like a 4-minute sequence because they could only film like 3 minutes a day.
Wow.
You know, in like low light or something like that. So anyway, apparently it's just really crazy, and they went all out on this thing. And it's got a returning director, Christopher McQuarrie, who directed the last Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation.
That's the first time that's happened, right?
Yeah, it's the first time they've had a returning director. And they also have Rebecca Ferguson returning as well. And she was a secret agent in Rogue Nation, and she was awesome. And she was a huge hit. So they're bringing her back, and it looks like they're bringing back some, without spoiling anything, some loose plot threads from past Mission Impossible movies, which is exciting because usually they're only very loosely connected. So it's nice to see them actually bringing some plot threads through to kind of tie it all together.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that appeals to me the most about this movie is that it's got connectivity to the previous ones.
Yeah. Are you guys fans of the Mission Impossible franchise at all?
Some of them.
Yeah, I am. I actually, in some ways, like all of them. There are some that I like more than others. And saying that, I actually haven't seen Rogue Nation. I like 2. I like 2 for sure.
Yeah, 2 is very John Woo-y. It doesn't really fit with the rest of the series, but that almost makes me like it more because it's just like this weird little thing that's so stylish and ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like a perfect little time capsule of the late 90s, early 2000s, and it's just totally ridiculous, and I enjoy it. But
yeah, I haven't seen Rogue Nation yet, and I kind of regret it, but I have been seeing the trailer for, what's this one called? Fallout?
Yes.
Right? So yeah. I've been seeing that one, and it's just getting me super hyped, and I'm trying to get my girlfriend Nicole to watch the movie so that we can go see it in theaters together, and I keep trying to like convince her, like, let's watch one of the Mission Impossible movies, because she hasn't seen any of them ever.
Oh, geez.
So we need to catch up.
The first one and the second one feel totally different than the rest of the series, but once J.J. Abrams hit with Mission Impossible 3, they've all kind of had like a similar vibe to them.
Yeah. I almost want to tell her that we could just start at 3 where they get like really good.
If she's having reluctance, then yes, I would say just start with 3. That way you don't have to twist her arm. But if you can get her to start with 1, Brian De Palma does some really cool stuff with Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
The first one.
I think they're all good, and I think we should watch them all, but if push come to shove, I'll start at 3, because at least that's where like Tom Cruise is kind of in that later stage in his life where he's kind of like handsome older gentleman. Kind of starting with 3, but like definitely the later ones, I feel like he's really got that locked down. At least that's why she really likes Tom Cruise.
Yeah, 3 was the one where they took a break for like 6 years. So It was kind of like a reboot, reimagining of the franchise, even though it was called MI3. So, yeah, I'd say that's a good place to start if you can't get her on board with the early Tom Cruise.
Yep. So my next one is an indie film, and actually I made my list and then started looking up release dates. And because I actually saw this movie on another list of like summer films that are coming out, right? But as it turns out, this film came out on April 6th. But I'm going to go ahead and count it because it was on that one list. But it's a film called The Endless, and it is directed or co-directed, I guess, by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. And neither of them have done much before this, but they also act in the film. The biggest actor in the film is Callie Hernandez, who is in Alien Covenant and La La Land, and also like the From Dusk Till Dawn series, but she's up and coming, I think. So the film debuted at Tribeca. It is a sci-fi kind of a supernatural thriller based on the trailer, But what it's about is these two guys who were in a cult and they left because they realized that the cult was full of it. And later on, they decide to go back and visit the cult again because they get like a video message from them, like saying hey and catching up. So like, hey, let's go visit those people because, we had a lot of friends. And they go back, but when they go back, like weird stuff starts to happen, and it seems like the cult never sent them the message based on the trailer. I don't know. It's very indie, and I feel like they'll take some risks and do some things that seem a little bit ballsier than, what that movie would be if it was a big blockbuster.
So is it a thriller?
I think it's one of you might not want to know too much about it.
Yeah, I think so too. It's kind of
I just kind of want to know, like, I couldn't quite tell based on your description if it was like dramedy or what.
Oh, no. So it's a bit more like horror thriller. So it seems like it's based around, like, once they get back, it seems like some of the things that the cult were predicting, which has to do with like extraterrestrial life, potentially. I'm guessing totally. But like, it seems like the question is like, is that stuff actually, like, are they actually right?
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Watch the trailer, because to me it looked very cool and unique.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a movie I've actually had my eye on. It's been playing at the Alamo Drafthouse here, which is about an hour away from my house. So I've been trying to make it down there. Last week when I saw the 36th Chamber of the Shaolin, that was actually the other option. So I almost went and saw this, but I saw the 36th Chamber of the Shaolin, and now I don't think
you
it's
made
in the
a
theater.
good decision.
Yeah. But now it's not in the theater anymore, so we might be a movie that we have to wait till it comes out on DVD.
Yeah, I think so, which that just means I'll anticipate it for longer.
Yep.
All right, Chris, give us your next one.
All right, my next one is a movie called Under the Silver Lake. This is a David Robert Mitchell's follow-up to his 2014 film It Follows, which...
I didn't know this one was coming out, or it would have been on my list too. This has me excited.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen It Follows, which I will see it before I watch this movie. I know. But everybody says it's so great, so I'm going to have to watch it. But this is him tackling kind of the noir genre, and the noir genre is one of my favorite genres, and so I'm excited about it. It also has
It's also a genre that's really easy to be corny and lame in if you're not careful.
Yeah, it's true. But it has a good cast, I think. It has Jimmy Simpson from... Most notably, he's in Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and then he's also in Westworld currently.
I like that guy.
Yeah, me too. Riley Coe, who is actually, she was in the Girlfriend Experience TV show, but she's actually, I just found out, Elvis's granddaughter. And then Andrew Garfield's also in it. So I think it's got a really solid cast. Yeah,
Andrew Garfield's pretty great.
Yeah, I think he is too. So I'm excited to see this. I don't know that much about it. I saw a little bit of the trailer, and then I was like, all right, I'm sold, and then I turned it off. So I'm really excited about it. Oh, and it comes out June 22nd, so we don't have much longer to wait on that one, just about 2 months.
What was the name of that one again?
Under the Silver Lake.
Awesome.
All right, Mike, what's yours next one?
Okay, so the next movie on my list would be the follow-up to the Denis Villeneuve movie, Sicario. And that is Sicario 2, Day of Soldado, which is a new name. It used to just be called Soldado, which was a much cooler name. And then I guess they wanted to make sure everyone knew it was a sequel to Sicario. But title change aside, I am excited about seeing this movie. It's the follow-up for Josh Brolin and Benicio del Toro's characters. You got a different director and a different protagonist, because I don't think Emily Blunt's character is in this at all. But I'm still excited to kind of see where it goes, and mainly because I'm intrigued, because this was a movie that I didn't think needed a sequel, and I don't even really understand what the sequel would be. So it's not so much that I think it looks good, so much as I'm very, very curious as to what it's going to be at all. The writer of it is actually is Taylor Sheridan, who did Wind River, Hell or High Water, and the first Sicario. And usually his movies have very strong themes about like what's going on in the world today and like the modern state of the country and the economy and how it hurts small people. At least that's a lot of what Hell and High Water is about. Sicario has a lot to do with the drug trade and the cartels around the border and kind of the shady things the government is doing to help combat that. So anyway, it's interesting, and I'm excited to see where Sicario 2, Day of Soldado takes it.
This is a film that I would not be as excited about if it wasn't for Taylor Sheridan coming back. When I first heard about it, the director being different, I was disappointed in that Emily Blunt wasn't coming back. But the fact that Taylor Sheridan's part of it, that's enough for me to come back to it, because I've liked I saw Wind River, and I liked that one. And then I haven't seen Hell or High Water yet, but I've liked everything I've seen from Taylor Sheridan, and I'm willing to give this movie a shot just because of that.
I liked Hell or High Water quite a bit, actually. So
it's definitely
Hell
on
or
my
High
list.
Water is mainly what makes me excited for this movie. I liked Hell or High Water more than I liked the first Sicario.
Oh man, that's exciting.
I haven't seen Hell or High Water. I have seen Sicario, and for me, Sicario is a movie that I watched and then I could just promptly forget it because it didn't really do anything for me. I thought it was just kind of okay. Hopefully, Sicario 2 is better. Hopefully, it's kind of like a Terminator 2 situation.
That would be weird, is if Sicario 2 just turned out to be like a straight-up action movie.
Sure, yeah. I didn't necessarily mean in that sense, but just in the sense that it's much better than the
I got
movie
you.
it's
I don't think it
sequeling.
will be, because Denis Villeneuve is a fantastic director who's really good at tone and mood
Yeah.
and setting up that kind of thing. But, you know, this director, the guy directing Sicario 2, his name is, Stefano Salima. But he looks like he's directed a lot of TV, like the TV show for Gomorrah.
Oh yeah, that's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, which is supposed to be really good. So I have no doubt that this director will be more than capable of giving me a moody, violent crime drama. I just hope that it's got stuff to say, you know, that it's worth its existence.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Who's next?
I'm back up again, and unfortunately, I have to go with the movie that technically was already released. It is a anime movie, and so it had its release like in Asia or Japan. It's getting its US release this summer, and it's called Fireworks, or at least that's the American title. The actual title is like way longer, but I don't think I should say it, or I didn't really bother to remember it, but the American title is just called Fireworks. But what interests me is it's from the same producer as Your Name. And Your Name, if you remember, was on my top films of 2017 list. I've since watched it again.
Also an anime.
It's also an anime, yep. And I double down on how great that movie is. And I am excited to see something else from the same producer. And it's supposed to be good. It's the story of two people who are in high school and they run away. It's a boy and a girl. And I think some stuff goes wrong while they've ran away, but then they discover this. From what I've gathered, it's kind of like a ball or a stone or something, and it allows them to turn back time. So they get a redo on everything and try to do it all right again, or try to do it all right this time and not screw up again.
Oh,
and
cool.
I don't know, it sounds like it could be good. Like I said, just the association with Your Name gets me very excited.
I agree. That makes me want to see it. I do want to. I looked it up. The title is actually pretty awesome. It's Fireworks. Should we see it from the side or the bottom? I think that's a great title.
That is a great title. Shame on Justin for not remembering the whole thing.
Yeah. Shame on me for sure. But if you want to see it, it looks like they're doing like a Fathom Events, like special screening in theaters that do Fathom Events on July 3rd, 5th, and 7th. But it's also getting a theatrical release. I couldn't find out if that was a limited release or what, but
Probably.
Most likely, since it's anime.
Yeah, I would assume so. But that's starting on July 4th. But it looks like you can see it everywhere as part of the Fathom Events.
What a perfect movie for July 4th. Fireworks.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm sure that was very much intentional.
Right.
Yeah, they'll get those people that like just see like, yeah, I would like to see fireworks on July 4th. I'll buy a ticket to that. And then it turns out it's some like sci-fi fantasy anime movie.
Yeah. Well, if you're on the fence about this recommendation, check out Your Name, and that should sell you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. So I'm excited about Fireworks as well. Good pick, Justin.
Thank you. Try and top it, Chris. Go next.
All right. So my next one is Won't You Be My Neighbor? It's a documentary about Mr. Rogers.
Nice.
Yeah. And when I was young, my mom and I and my sister would watch Mr. Rogers on a regular basis. I still know some of the songs from He had little operas that he did, and as a kid, I really loved him. And so I'm really excited to be able to dive into Won't You Be My Neighbor and find out more about Mr. Rogers. I think it'll be really good and kind of a nostalgic trip to go down. It comes out June 8th, and it was directed by Morgan Neville, who also directed 20 Feet from Stardom, if you guys have seen that. But yeah, so I'm excited. How do you guys feel about Mr. Rogers? Did you guys ever watch him? And are you excited about this documentary?
I've never seen a single episode. I think it was a little bit before my time.
Yeah, probably.
I don't have any relationship to Mr. Rogers. I've always heard about him. I know his reputation, and I know like what the show is, and obviously it's like a huge cornerstone to so many childhoods. But I think I was of the generation who kind of missed out on the Mr. Rogers train. So
that's understandable.
I'm interested, but I'm also kind of scared because I feel like when you get to know any human being, you're going to find some stuff out that you don't want to know. And I don't know that I would want to find out things about Mr. Rogers that I don't already know, based after this last year.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that this documentary is going to be pretty favorable to Mr. Rogers. I don't think this will be like an expose. I think it'll be more the story of how Mr. Rogers came to be, the TV show.
Oh, I'm sure that's true. Otherwise, we would have heard about this documentary by now in a different context.
Right.
Yeah. Watching the trailer, it just seems like just a pleasant time and like very emotional in a good way.
Yeah.
Of like seeing such a good person and like all the things that he wanted to do and the things that he did. In the trailer they touch on the fact that he had like a black character come on and put his feet in the pool
at a
with
time.
Mr. Rogers was like a huge deal at the time
because they were kicking black people out of the pools at the time, and they weren't letting them in. So
I feel like it's going to be like really inspiring and like, I didn't watch a lot of Mr. Rogers. I've seen an episode here or there, but I'm not much older than Mike. So I think I'm in that same boat of being a little before its time, but what I have seen, it's just super happy and positive and uplifting. And I expect the same from the documentary.
I think it'll be the perfect salve for like our time right now. Like it'll be something that kind of help us get through it.
Yeah, that's a big appeal of it, I think, honestly, is just how pleasant it seems in the midst of many unpleasant things that are
the rhetoric that is happening
going on.
Yeah, I think escapism in general is big right now. Look at the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Like I think there's probably this is a different conversation for a different time, but I think there's probably a reason that there are cultural trends aiming towards this kind of thing right now. Like movies going this direction and what's making money.
Mm-hmm.
The escapism aspect of it. No one wants to go be sad. But anyway, like I said, different conversation for a different time.
Yeah, for sure. So what do you got next, Mike?
My next movie that I am excited about is Hereditary, which looks like kind of an art house horror movie directed by Ari Aster, starring Toni Collette and Gabriel Byrne. Gabriel Byrne, of course, being Miller's Crossing.
And End of Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
End of Days, yes, and several other things.
Don't you forget that one.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the trailer for this movie? Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, I've seen the trailer. I've seen the big giant stand that's in my local movie theater. And I think it looks really interesting.
Yeah, I honestly, based on the trailer, I don't know a whole lot about what it's actually about.
It's a really good trailer, I think. And
yeah,
I mean,
it's very effective.
Not having seen the movie, so I don't know exactly what it's giving away. But the fact that I don't really know what's happening in this movie after having seen the trailer makes me think that it's a really good trailer.
Exactly. So I'm not even going to read the plot synopsis because I kind of don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, the trailer is very moody, very atmospheric. It looks like it's filmed very well. There's one shot in particular in the trailer where there's someone on fire in a house, and that shot just looks so haunting and so eerie. It reminds me a lot of like artistic horror movies like The Witch or something that came out last year.
Yeah, it definitely has that vibe. And to go a little further back, it reminds me of things like the Polanski horror films like Rosemary's Baby or Repulsion.
There you go.
Yeah, it's from A24, which is a studio that I'm on board for sure. And this was a movie that probably was like number 6 on my list. Like I wanted to include it, but it just got nudged out. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that comes out June 8th. Check out the trailer. It won't spoil much, I don't think, because it seems all about tone and mood.
Yeah, as long as they don't release like a longer trailer or, a more extensive trailer like they do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Hereditary. Who's next, Justin?
All right. This film I heard about, I think coming out of South by Southwest by some friends who went there and saw this film, and they've kind of been raving about it ever since. And it is 8th Grade, which is by writer-director Bo Burnham.
I was about to ask if that was the same movie by Bo Burnham, about the girl. Go on, I'm sorry. Proceed.
Yeah, it seems like it's basically about a girl dealing with going from like 8th grade to high school, and it's kind of that slice of life, maybe a little bit of coming of age film. It seems like it's kind of a dramedy and not so much a straightforward comedy like you might expect out of Bo Burnham. And everything I've heard about it has been like really rave reviews, and that like you have to see it. It's really interesting. So I'm super excited about it. It stars Elsie Fisher, who I've never heard of before, but she kind of has this familiar look of that she's been in something I've seen, but I don't know what it is. And I don't really care, I guess, because I'm sold on just the concept of the movie. Like it's very much in line with the type of movie that I'm interested in. I really like coming of age, slice of life type films. So it lines up. It comes out July 13th. And yeah, have either of you guys seen the trailer for it or anything?
Yeah, I've seen the trailer and I've heard word of mouth, and both are good, positive. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to wrap my head around the idea of Bo Burnham making this movie about a 8th grader going through puberty kind of thing. It's really interesting, and I can't wait to see it. And all the talk I've heard is positive as well.
And maybe this is one of those rare examples of when comedians stretch their dramatic legs to great results, hopefully.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how the humor is in this movie compared to the humor of his stand-up, which I'm not too big of a fan of his in terms of his stand-up.
I've never even watched it, but I usually am not big on stand-up comedy in general. I just don't, not that I don't like it. Like I enjoy it when it's funny and I see it, but like I don't really ever go out of my way to watch stand-up specials, So yeah. A lot of comedians I just don't know about until they start popping up in movies.
Yeah, I think he does more of like musical type stand-up where he does like funny songs and stuff, and sometimes like I don't really like that novelty about in terms of stand-up. Like I kind of like a person just talking and telling funny jokes or funny stories or whatever.
Because when I think of a novelty, I think of that puppet guy.
Yeah, Jeff Dunham.
Yeah, which is not good.
I shouldn't have said his name. I shouldn't even give him that much credit because I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
At Blockbuster, that was the worst because everybody loved Jeff Dunham.
And we had one copy of every one of his specials, and people would come in all weekend.
Yeah.
Do you have Jeff Dunham?
He's got that terrorist robot, or not puppet.
Yeah. All right, so Chris, what is your next movie?
I think we've already tread this ground quite a bit. If you haven't already listened to last week's episode, but one of my summer movies that I was looking forward to the most was Avengers Infinity War. I was really excited about it. I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to turn out. There's a lot of characters in this. So to find out what I thought of it, you can listen to last week's episode or earlier this week's episode. And started out, and it's by the Russo brothers. So check it out for sure.
When the article was originally posted on Cinelinks, it was still about a week away.
Yeah, that's true. So Mike, what's your next one?
All right, so my next movie that I wanted to talk about was Brad Bird's Incredibles 2. So this is the follow-up to my favorite Disney-Pixar collaboration, which is The Incredibles. Up might be my actual favorite, but only when I'm in the mood to be sad. So that's not very often, I guess. But The Incredibles, I think, is a complete joy. And I'm really hoping that they can make lightning strike twice on this, I didn't really like Finding Dory too much, so I am a little worried that maybe like waiting too long for a sequel is not a good thing. But then again, I loved Toy Story 3 more than Toy Story 2. So we shall see, I guess. Do you guys like The Incredibles at all?
Yeah, definitely. And I think I'd be a little bit more worried about it if Brad Bird wasn't returning.
Did you see Tomorrowland?
That was going to be my next statement. Brad Bird isn't completely without a miss, but I think most of his movies are really good. Tomorrowland was not, but the other ones I enjoyed quite a bit.
Well, we talked about Mission Impossible earlier. I like Mission Impossible 4, which was his first live-action movie.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have not personally seen Tomorrowland. I just know that it got a bad rap when it came out.
Honestly, don't. It's not super great. There are some cool things in it, like the special effects and stuff, but ultimately it's not very good.
Does it make you worried for Incredibles 2?
Yeah, that was kind of what worries me. That would be my biggest worry, that Tomorrowland wasn't great. But I think really, I mean, Iron Giant, Incredibles, Brad Bird is, he's hit more home runs than strikeouts for me. So I'm on board.
And I would argue that some of the sequences in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol are amongst some of the most thrillingly filmed sequences of the last few years, live action wise.
Yeah, I agree. And for me, I really love the first Incredibles. I actually saw it like a couple of times in theaters, which was at the time something I never did at all. Like I would do that now for a movie, or maybe even like within the last 10 years. I would see a movie multiple times if I really liked it, but not then. So I think it says a lot that I did that at the time. And I was a little worried about the sequel too, but I saw the trailer, like the extended trailer, and everything that was in the trailer for me worked and made me laugh, or at least, made me smile.
Yeah, I guess to the question of Brad Bird, I'm happier that Brad Bird is part of this movie than I would be if he wasn't. Does that make sense? I'm more confident that the movie's going to be good that he's part of it.
Absolutely. And I honestly am not worried at all. I was just asking you kind of earlier because I know once someone makes one stinker, everyone's always worried that they've lost it, I don't think that's the case. And that's why I was even asking you guys if you had seen Tomorrowland, because I know popular opinion is down on Tomorrowland, but, sometimes you got to think for yourself. So I was actually going to ask you guys if you had seen it, because I have not.
So my only concern is that they may do the thing that happens sometimes with like sequels, where it's been a long time since the first movie came out, where they feel like they have to rehash the same jokes and like or maybe they feel like they can get away with the same jokes because it's been so long. Like I feel like the worst example I can think of is a film that you and I saw together, Mike, but Zoolander 2 as compared to
Don't
Zoolander
talk
1.
about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think we said we would never tell anyone we saw it, but cat's out of the bag.
Damn it, Justin.
But they basically do a lot of the same jokes again verbatim in Zoolander 2 that were in Zoolander. And I think the thing, when we get Zoolander 2 finally, we want new jokes that we can laugh at and then quote. We don't want the same jokes that we've been watching and quoting for like 10, 12 years at this point, So I just kind of hope that they don't fall into that trap that I see sometimes,
Yeah, I agree. That's actually very astute observation. I was trying to think of another movie that does that exact same thing. Oh, Anchorman 2.
Yes.
Yeah, Anchorman 2 was almost pretty good, in my opinion, because it actually had something to say. It had a point behind it. It had a message they were trying to get across. And it gets burdened down by callbacks to the first one, in my opinion. Particularly
the even longer sequence where like all the different news teams show up to have a fight.
Yes. Yeah, it's like they want us to all have a fight because that was like the biggest, most popular scene from the first one.
Yeah. And rather I'd like to see a whole another piece that's creative and something new and funny. Like I want to see the same characters in new situations doing new things. I don't want the same joke again.
Yeah, I want something equally as ridiculous as a big brawl without having to sit through the whole thing.
Yeah. Otherwise I'd just watch Anchorman or Zoolander again,
Exactly. So yeah, that's a good point. I hope they don't do that with The Incredibles 2, but Disney and Pixar have never really done that with their sequels, I don't think.
Yeah, they usually feel more justified of like there's a story to tell.
Right. Finding Dory aside. And I also am not counting the Cars movies because I don't watch those because they're stupid.
Shots fired.
Am I wrong?
I only saw the first one and I really didn't like it, so I didn't bother with 2 or 3.
That's true. I guess the same could be said of me. So if Cars 2 or 3 is really good, feel free not to let me know because I don't care. Or do. And then if you genuinely think it's good and want me to watch it, someone could probably convince me to do it.
Yeah. Don't tweet us at casualcinecast.
Tweet Justin and tell him to tell me.
Yeah.
That way everyone's on board.
All right. So for the last one, we actually all included this one on our list, so we're saving it for the end. Do you guys want to try to all say it at the same time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Solo.
Ant-Man and the
Trio.
Wasp. Oh, wow.
Oh, Trio was good.
Sorry, it was a really bad joke, but I had to do it. I couldn't think of anything else.
It was a good
in
one.
such a quick time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm proud
Although
of you.
really,
Solo.
I'm proud of you, Mike.
yeah, really, it doesn't make sense to say that name altogether. We should. It's a really kind of a one-person thing.
Really, it was just a whole stupid idea, and we're sorry we made you listen to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this movie. I get excited about just about anything Star Wars for now. I haven't hit that point of fatigue where I've seen too many Marvel movies that they're coming out too often yet. I think it's possible that I may, but I'm not there yet, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I think the thing that actually excites me the most about this, about Solo at this point, is how's it going to turn out? Because there's so much drama behind the scenes. Like, is it going to? It'll be a miracle, I think, if it turns out really, really good. But I'm just interested to see the chaos happen, right? Like whether Ron Howard could actually rescue it or not. So that's what excites me about that.
I think I'm right there with you. I like the guy playing Han Solo. I saw him in the Coen Brothers movie Hail Caesar a couple years back, and he is so funny in that movie, and he is so charming that I have no doubt that he will make a good protagonist, right? And I know he's not doing a Harrison Ford impression, which is good. I don't want that. He doesn't necessarily sound like Han Solo, but I do, in the trailers at least, get the Han Solo vibe from him, which is all that really matters. And if you ask me, I don't really want him to do like a impression. I want him to make it his own. But as long as I feel that swagger, that Han Solo-ness, I think it'll work. And I think he's got it down, at least in the trailers. And I think Donald Glover is going to be a charming Lando, even though it doesn't sound like he is going to do anything remotely close to what Billy D was doing as far as the way he talks goes. But that's good. These actors need to make it their own. I am like you. I'm curious because it could easily be a disaster, and which is what I think everyone's expecting, but I don't know if that anyone wants. So we'll see. I think it'll be fun. A couple of the most recent trailers they've released have given some really humorous beats with Han and Chewie that makes it kind of seem like a buddy movie. And I really enjoy the chemistry they have back and forth together, and I think what I've seen in the trailers really works. I'm on board. I'm skeptical. But at the very least, it's at least going to look really awesome, because if one thing can be said about the Disney era of Star Wars, it's that these movies look really good.
Yeah, and there's actually a couple of shots that make me really excited to see it too, kind of like Western shots where Han Solo's, you see like the leg coming down into the shot and he's grappling at his holster. So there is a chance this could be really amazing. So it comes out May 25th, so we don't have to wait long to find out.
Well, I'm hoping they'll do with Star Wars what they've kind of done with the Marvel movies, and what I do appreciate, which is even if a movie comes out and I'm not particularly interested in this one, or this particular Solo movie wasn't a hit, it adds something to the universe overall to where it's going to be worth watching in the long run for callbacks later on and trying to build the universe up. So I think it could lend itself well to that if they do it well. But it's just one of those things where it could easily go so wrong because no one really wanted this to happen. No one was asking for this,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to your point about it going to be looking very good, the cinematographer is Bradford Young, who was the cinematographer on Arrival, which I think is an amazing looking movie.
It really is. That actually has me extremely excited. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Arrival is beautiful. If you haven't seen Arrival, see that.
Yeah, it's very good. I think, not to get into talking about Arrival, but like save for like one line at the very, very end of the movie, which I won't say because of spoiler reasons, but save for that, I think that movie is damn near perfect.
I haven't seen it since theater, so I don't know what you're talking about, but
yeah, neither
I'll back you up that it's almost perfect.
I think Denis Villeneuve is probably my favorite working director, like new working director. There's Martin Scorsese and the old guys that are, really great, but I'm most excited to see, everything that he does.
Did you see Prisoners?
Yep, I have not, and I know that Prisoners and Enemy are the two movies that I want to see of his that I
haven't seen
yet.
Enemy, but Prisoners is
Yeah.
I won't say anything else, but it is emotional.
Yeah, that's kind of why I didn't watch it when it was in theaters, because I knew it was going to be a really heavy film, so I didn't go
cry in front of everybody in the
Kind
theater.
of like a big baby.
Yeah, I mean that's a problem when I go to the theater. Like sometimes I cry so much that it starts to flood, and those little walking lights go out because the water short circuits it.
That's why I wouldn't go see 36 Chamber of Shaolin with you.
Yeah, I cried in that movie.
It's very triumphant.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that does it for this episode. Thank you guys, as always, for listening. And thank you, Jake Wagner-Russell, for doing our intro and outro music. If you want to hear more of his music, you can do so at soundcloud.com/bopscotch.
In a couple days, we'll be putting out a bonus episode, an interview with filmmaker David Franklin about his film, As Far as the Eye Can See.
Which stars Jason London.
Yes.
Yeah, I met David and saw his film at some film festivals that my film was in, and he's a super interesting guy and super nice, and has a good little film, and I think it's an interesting conversation to hear him talk about it and talk about the process of making a film and an indie film. That's interesting to me, and I think it'll be interesting to listeners too.
And if you're interested in watching David's movie, you can actually rent that on Amazon, which is what I did, and you should support indie movies.
I've seen it before, and I rented it again anyways, just to help out.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you guys found these picks to be interesting and you were interested in any more cool movies coming out this summer, head to cinelinks.com and check out the article on their website. Their whole writing staff pretty much contributed, except for Justin, who was, didn't get his in on time, so he had to do his in the episode.
That's right. And if you want to berate me for being late on my deadline and missing that, then you can do so by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Casual Cinecast. You can join our Facebook group where we talk film and TV at facebook.com/groups/Casual Cinecast, or you can email us directly at casualcinemedia@gmail.com.
Thanks, guys. I really enjoyed having this conversation. And if you guys at home enjoyed this conversation, just write in, let us know what you thought. And until next time, see you later.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
All right, I'm hitting stop on recording.